Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're digging into a really fascinating source that asks one of humanity's most imaginative questions. What if the moon isn't what we think it is at all?
All right, let's just jump right in with this opening statement from the source material. It's from a spiritual teacher, Shinmyo Koshin, and it really sets a mystical tone right from the get-go. The idea here isn't about a dead rock in space, but a living, breathing sanctuary.
So, here's how we're going to break this down. Our journey through this material follows four big ideas. We're going to start with a pretty mild physical claim, then explore why that might be, dig into a huge cosmic mystery, and then wrap it all up with what it could all mean on a spiritual level. Okay, first up, we're starting with the main piece of physical evidence that this whole idea is built on, and it's all about the really strange way the moon seems to react when something hits it. So the source really frames the whole debate around this one question, a question that, believe it or not, the Apollo missions accidentally brought up. See, when the lunar module from Apollo 12 was intentionally crashed onto the surface, the seismographs they left behind picked up something. Well, something truly bizarre. And right away, this is where you see the two competing ideas at the heart of this whole thing. On one hand, you have the mainstream scientific view. It says, look, the moon's crust is super dry and fractured. It's not like Earth's damp geology that just absorbs shockwaves, so of course vibrations are going to bounce around for a long, long time. But then you have the esoteric view. And it takes those exact same reverberations and says, no way, that's proof of a hollow, constructed shell, more like a machine than a rock. And this is where investigative journalist Linda Moulton Howe comes in. Her contribution, which is cited in the source, really drives home the idea that this isn't just some metaphor. The claim being made is that this wasn't just a fringe theory, but that actual engineers, talking privately, off the record, suspected the data was pointing to something artificial, something built. But then you get the counterpoint, right? The grounded, scientific perspective from planetary scientist Dr. Sean Solomon. And what he says is essentially, okay, yeah, the data is weird, there are anomalies, but he's quick to caution against jumping to conclusions that the evidence just doesn't support. It's that classic push and pull scientific skepticism running up against a really deep mystery. Okay, so let's just go with this for a second. Let's entertain this wild idea that the moon is engineered. Well, the very next question the source asks is the logical one. Why? What would be the purpose of something like that? And man, this table really lays out just how diverse the theories are within this material. You've got ideas all over the map. On one end, you have physicist John Brandenburg suggesting it's some kind of military defense system or observation post. And on the other, you have the channeled entity Bashar describing it as a spiritual instrument, like an energetic tuning fork for our entire planet. Now, this is fascinating. Several different voices in the source material, we're talking people like hypnotherapist Dolores Cannon, and even a channeled group called the Arcturian Council, they all seem to land on this one incredible idea, that the moon is basically a cosmic Noah's Ark. They suggest it's a vault, a repository for everything vital from Earth. We're talking water, minerals, plant seeds, even the genetic records of life itself, all stored away safely for when we might need it. And get this, even a NASA lunar geologist, the late Dr. Paul Spudis, is quoted saying something that backs up the logic of it. He's not saying it's happening, mind you, but that from a strategic point of view, it's totally rational. Creating a backup for a precious system. It's just sound thinking. From there, the investigation takes a turn towards a mystery that, well, we can all see, or rather, a mystery we can't see, the far side of the moon. The face that's permanently hidden from us because of tidal locking. And this whole section of the source material really hinges on one big claim, that the moon's stability, that perfect tidal lock, is just not natural. The suggestion is that the reason it keeps one face pointed at us so perfectly isn't just gravity. It might be an illusion, something actively maintained by technology. And here's the kicker. The source claims this isn't just groundless speculation. There's a quote attributed to an actual Apollo astronaut, Edgar Mitchell, who apparently said that they saw things, lights, anomalies, that were never reported. His point? The far side isn't just hidden by its orbit, it's hidden by policy. Then things get even wilder. The text brings in a psychic dimension with an account from the famous remote viewer, Ingo Swann. He claimed that when he remote viewed the far side, he didn't just see structures and glowing domes. He made contact with beings who knew he was watching them, and they looked right back. So, what's the ultimate explanation offered in the source? It's that the reason we can't see what's really there is because of some seriously advanced tech. We're talking cloaking fields, maybe even holographic projectors, that are actively hiding huge bases, hangars, and towers from all of our telescopes and probes.
Okay, this brings us to the final and maybe the most profound theme in the whole source material. It's the idea that the moon isn't just a passive object. It's not just a shield or a vault. It's an active guide for all of humanity. But before we can really get into this final section, we need to understand a specific term, Magokoro. It's a Japanese concept central to Shinto thought, and Shinmyo Koshin presents it as the key to, well, everything. It basically means true heart or sincere heart, this state of being that's pure and uncorrupted. And here we circle back to Bashar, who claims the moon's influence is way bigger than just the tides. The claim is that it directly impacts our very DNA. It's described as this cosmic tuning fork, sending out frequencies that actually help stabilize and guide our evolution. So what's the end game here? What's the ultimate goal of all this supposed guidance? Well, the source wraps up by laying out these interconnected purposes from different voices. First, simple survival. Second, our spiritual awakening, nurturing that consciousness. And finally, getting us ready to join a much bigger cosmic family. And this is where Shinmyo Koshin really ties it all together. The argument is that our spiritual state, that Magokoro we just talked about, is the deciding factor in all of this. The guidance from the moon might be there, but it's our own sincerity that determines if we just survive physically or if we actually achieve a true evolution of the soul. And so after this whole incredible journey through these ideas, we're left with one last, really provocative thought. It completely shifts the focus, right? It's not about what the moon is anymore. It's about what it expects of us. It puts the responsibility for our future squarely back in our own hands.